All right, so today we're going to be talking about how to get back to being athletic, because at some point you've realized that being athletic is just part of human nature. Being able to run, being able to jump, being able to do whatever you need to do for the circumstances of life or any of the outdoor activities or sports that you want to do. Maybe you want to get back into running. You realize that you're in this place right now where maybe you've been lifting, maybe you've been doing some kind of physical activity, but you're not really prepared for those athletic situations. So today we're going to get into how you're going to be able to transition from being in this place where you're not really feeling as athletic, as springy, as resilient as you want to be, to being able to get back into whatever athletic activities that you want to be able to do. So the first thing that I think is really crucial is being able to just sit here and bring awareness to your body. So whether you want to be sitting, standing, or laying on your back, you can do this one really simple exercise. It's just a body scan, and you're essentially going to close your eyes. I actually like really doing this on my back on the ground. So you're just going to sit down here, lay down, have your hands wherever feels comfortable, crossed over here or on the ground, and you're just gonna lay here. And the reason this is so important is because oftentimes we just get so focused on these external things outside of ourselves. And when we do that, we're not really able to move and control our bodies in the way that's necessary, because the very first thing that we need to understand when it comes to controlling moving our bodies in this athletic way is, first off, how do we relate to our bodies? How do we feel these subtle sensations in our bodies? And this body scan right here is going to help you be able to do that. So again, you're just gonna lay down on your back, and you're gonna go from either head to toe or toe to head, and you're just gonna slightly pause at each and every area of your body. So you start at the end of your toes. You feel that, you really bring yourself into that part of your body, you really occupy that area, and then you're gonna go into the base of your toes, the midfoot, the bottom of your foot, the heel, the ankle, the shins, and you're really just inch by inch bringing this awareness to your body to really feel these subtle details of your body, like the tension that's through it, the sensations of even like the cold or the hot air that's around you. You're just really bringing yourself into these different areas of the body, occupying it, and just really observing, not really fixating on any one thing. So you're gonna go all throughout the body, all throughout the chain, and you're just gonna do that maybe 10, 15 minutes. I mean, you could do it even longer if you want to. Sometimes I've personally done it up to 60 minutes, an hour, really just focused on my body, really bringing myself inside. And then from there, you can get into the next part of this process, which is getting a self-massage tool like a lacrosse ball or anything else, a little bit of a bigger tool here, dig into some different areas. But you're just gonna grab the lacrosse ball. The main areas that I like to do are the bottom of the foot. So you get there, obviously without shoes on, grab the bottom of the foot. And instead of like what a lot of people do, which is just kind of going super fast, rolling like this, I like to really pause on these tender areas, really just chill out there for a sec, really, again, bring myself into that part of the body. And after a couple minutes, what you'll find is that that part of the body where you find that kink, that tender point, will just kind of melt, almost like it'll just kind of wrap around the ball and really release whatever kind of tension is there. And that's because the fascia, what we're working on right now, has this viscoelastic quality to it. Viscous like honey and elastic like a rubber band. So the two come together and they basically creep and really start to open up as you continue that applied pressure. So you're gonna do that on the bottom of the feet. Then you can go to the lower legs. Typically I like to do this on something raised, like a coffee table or something where I could be on my back. Just kind of relax, put the ball right here. Again, same thing, you wanna stick onto those trigger points and really sit there, really kind of put that continued pressure on there. And then once you feel like the point is releasing a little bit, then you can go into these smaller rolls where you're still staying on the point, on that tender point, but you're going and rolling a little bit more. And then you can go into those more quick, fast rolls that a lot of people like to do. Next point, quad. So you're gonna get on the quad. There's a lot of points in here. So you got the outside portion of this quad, kind of where it meets the IT band. You got the rectus femoris, this muscle that kind of goes down, attaches the pelvis to the knee. Even the inside, like this VMO area, you could get in there with your fingers as well. Super tender usually. And the whole point, again, is priming our body to be able to move well. Because if your fascia, your tissues are just all stuck and tensioned up, then when you go to move and do these things that we're going to talk about next, you're not really going to be in position to optimize your body and use your body the way that it was designed to be used. So next thing, you got your quads, then you got your glutes. You can go to the outside here. You can go a little bit medially, kind of towards your crack. Get in there, there's some tender points there. And then this glute medius, this chunk right here on the outside. You can get in there by crossing your leg like this. If you're inflexible, really tight, then you might want to lay down a little bit more, open up this angle at the hip, and that'll allow you to get in there. A lot of times too, what people don't really realize is that you might not feel a trigger point at first because it's so tight, it's holding on to all this tension that it just needs a little bit of time for you to just be sitting on there, applying that pressure for you to even feel the pain or the tenderness. So sometimes just wait a little bit, just really be patient, and really just let that tissue melt. And over time, maybe after 30, 45 seconds, you might feel, oh wow, that is really painful. And you might realize also that you're having tension through different areas of your body other than just, let's say I'm on my glute right now, I might feel tension in my stomach, might feel tension in my traps and in my neck. And it's really important as you're rolling out, as you're doing this release, to really let go of all of that tension and really just bring yourself to a state of calm and relaxation, because that is what's going to really allow you to let go of these tissues, because the fascia, what we're working on right now, is really closely connected to your emotional and mental state. And if you're in this place of being super stressed, super anxious, really just upregulated in your nervous system, then you're gonna have tension in your body no matter what you do. Whether you use these self-massage tools, you go get body work, whatever, if you stay in this mental and emotional state of stress, then you're just gonna hold on to the tension no matter what. You may get a little bit of relief, but it's just gonna go right back to being tense and stuck. So just make sure you do that. You stay relaxed, you stay grounded. So you got your glutes, you got your quads, lower legs, feet. You can also get your hamstrings. So maybe something with a little bit of a platform. So kind of like this, I think this would work. You're just gonna grab a ledge like this. This might be a little bit short for me. Typically you want something that's like lower leg height so that then you can get it. Actually, this isn't too bad, but you get in here. Ideally my leg would be hanging off, but then you're able to just get into the hamstring. You can also do these little extensions of the knee. And you really, again, just want to make sure you have nice tall posture through the spine. You have a really relaxed sense of being throughout the rest of you. And you can just hold this position. You can see me like shaking a little bit here. Hold this, extend that all the way. Dorsiflex that ankle as well. And then you can just release that. And there's points all over the quad, so you can, or the hamstring rather, you can get into that muscle belly. You can get into the outside portion, also again, close to kind of where the IT band meets the hamstring. Also the inside in here, you can get that by kind of leaning to the side a little bit, more of the adductor. You can get in there. Ideally, again, like this would be a little bit higher, but you get in there. Just again, same thing, pressure, hold it, find those tense points. And this, guys, the reason we're spending so much time on this is because this is really one of the most powerful things you can do to prepare your body to being athletic again. Because again, if your tissue quality is not where it needs to be, nothing else is going to help you. And this is one of the most powerful methods that you can do to get there. So we can go over some upper body points, but honestly, I think you guys get the point. The next thing is learning how to activate in more isometric positions. So we can start off in something as simple as just standing on one leg with your heel elevated. And a lot of these exercises that we're going to go through, we're going to have that heel elevated because of how you want to be able to push through your forefoot as you're running, jumping, sprinting. Doing anything athletic really involves you being able to have a nice strong ankle that doesn't fold like this under pressure, and also a foot that is able to relax and contract with the ground. So you just have that stiffness through the foot and ankle that is going to essentially propel you as you go to do any of these athletic movements. So very first thing, again, just standing on one leg. You can either be here where you're kind of just this other leg is kind of free down to the ground straight, but you could also get into this position here where your hip and knee are flexed. And a big part of this too, guys, you want to make sure that this foot in the air is also holding tension. That's another key concept, is that we want to be able to not only get rid of the tension in the areas that don't need more tension, like we did with the lacrosse ball, but we also want to be able to add tension to these lax areas. So you could think of the whole body as one big pulley system or one big net. And when you have all of this tension versus laxity, then it's not going to operate the way that it needs to. So you need to not only take the tension out, the excess tension out, you have to put tension in the areas that have too much slack. And that way your body is gonna operate, it's gonna move the way that you want it to. So that's what we're doing here with one of these variations. So you're gonna have that tension through the foot, tension through the whole body, but in a relaxed way. You don't want to be squeezing everything. You want to find that balance between tension and relaxation. So that's the first variation. And then what I like to do, I like to get into this hinge where also leaned over onto this forefoot. Want to make sure that the shin isn't behind you. You want to make sure it's pressed forward just a little bit. And that way you're really making your foot work. You're really making sure that that forefoot is really grabbing onto the ground. So then from there, you're just leaning forward like as if I'm literally about to fall. And then, but you're obviously not gonna fall. And then you're just trying to make your glutes as big and stretched as possible. Spine, head and neck, nice and tall and long. And then you're just doing this hinge right here. And you can just stay here. You can hold the med ball. You can hold this position right here. Being able to just do this for 2 minutes is a nice progression. And then you can get into things like, this is kind of heavy for a rotation, but you can get into a little rotation right here. You can do the same thing to the opposite side. You can hold the ball like this as well. It's gonna challenge the anterior core a little bit more. You can really do everything with this, man. So really just making sure that you understand there are so many different variations, and all you got to do is just progress for where you're at. That's really the name of the game. If that's too hard, where I'm holding it in front of myself, just progress to being able to hold it down here. If that's too hard, then do it with no weight. That's really the name of the game. So you got that hinge, and then from there, you can start exploding into more accelerative movements. So you could get into that same position, and instead of just holding it for 2 minutes, maybe you hold it for 30 seconds. You get your hips shifted the way that you need to. And then this is literally the position that I'm gonna explode out of and run. So I'm gonna just literally move just like in the same exact way that I was holding that same isometric hold. So if you want to get back to your athletic prime and really be able to get to that point where you're bouncy, you feel good, you're elastic, then just follow this same progression. Just make sure you, again, progress for where you're at. Don't try and speed things up, just stay patient and everything will come.